Hello and welcome to True Audio Files. I'm going to talk today about my small haul that I got on my business trip to Houston this week. I didn't get to go to what would probably be considered some of the better stores in Houston just because of logistics and time. I went to a couple of stores kind of on the outer edges of Houston, and I think both of them were in Spring, Texas, if I'm not mistaken, in and around the Spring area, which was just right outside of the city of Houston. And I got a couple of cool records. I got one that, I don't know if it was a grail, but it was one that I've definitely been looking for a little while, so that was kind of cool. And so, we'll go over those and let you see what I got and see if you liked what I got. So first up is one that goes to show why you want to collect records. And it is, basically it's from Pace, Ashton, and Lord, Malice and Wonderland. I've actually looked this up and did some research, and I couldn't even find this album on on Apple Music or on Qobuz. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is Ian Pace, John Lord from Deep Purple, that created this album with another gentleman, the Tony Ashton. I want to say this was 1977, if I'm not mistaken. The only thing I can find from them on streaming services are a couple of live albums that came out probably around the same time, probably to support this album that they created. Kind of the cool thing is the legendary producer Martin Birch, who did a lot of older Deep Purple and Whitesnake, and then eventually Iron Maiden records, produced this one as well. So quite honestly, I've never heard this before, so I'm kind of looking forward to checking it out and seeing what it's all about. I really like Deep Purple, so we'll see where that one goes. Next up, Wes Montgomery. Down here on the ground, I'm trying to remember, there were some musicians, I can't remember, I'd have to open it up and look at it now, but that were on this. But I think that Van Gelder had cut this one as well, so another cool reason to get it, because it wasn't outrageously expensive. It was $5. $5 in almost perfect condition. I've heard of Wes Montgomery. I don't know this album specifically, but recorded and cut by Mr. Van Gelder himself. So I'm looking forward to kind of checking that one out. This next one, I probably have most, if not all, the songs on this already. I'm guessing it's not an audiophile quality recording, but again, this was like $12. 2-record set. Had a hard time passing it up. It's a Lee Morgan connection on Lee Morgan collection on 2 records. It's put out in 1973 by G&P Crescendo, which I'm not familiar with that label. Maybe some of you are, but it looked interesting. Looks like it may have been a cutout as well, because it's got a hole up at the top. But both records were in really good shape. So, and I really like Lee Morgan. So I can't wait to check out what that one is going to sound like. This next one, I had to just get it because it was cheap. And I thought that the popular song off of this was really fun. And I figured the whole record might be fun. And it is musical youth. The youth of today, which includes Pass Doce, which is was a popular song back in the 80s for those of you who don't know, but I've never seen this out in the wild there, so I saw it. It was in good shape. It was cheap. I said, why not? This next one I've been looking for I can't say looking hard for it. I have several versions of this album, or I should say several copies of this, but I think every single one of them is really beat up in some way, shape, or form, and this one's in relatively good condition. I'm actually going to take it out of plastic wrap, but it's Roberta Flack, Killing Me Softly, made popular again by the Fugees and Lauryn Hill. But I love this cover, tie cut, where the piano opens up. Very cool. And, like I said, I have probably 2 or 3 different copies of other copies of this, but all of them are really beat up. And this one was actually in really good shape, or in pretty good shape anyway. This one I think I already have, but it wasn't expensive. and I figured I'd give it a shot again in good shape. This is Aretha Franklin, a Diva. So this is like an 80s, I think, Atlantic record release, if I'm not mistaken. Or early 80s, something like that. This is an older one, and I believe this was a first pressing, so that was one of the reasons why, and it was a demo copy. And I couldn't pass this one up. One thing I didn't notice is whether this is the mono version, so yeah, good or bad. And it's a Columbia release, Aretha. You know, let's take it like you give it. Most if not all the Columbia stuff is kind of meh. They were trying to kind of groom her to be kind of a, you know, easy listening, you know, maybe along the lines of a female Frank Sinatra type at Columbia, and it just didn't work real well. But you know, like I said, it's cheap as $12.99. It's a promo copy, first pressing, so I figured I'd give it a try for that. This one, I think this is early 80s or late 70s, James Brown. So, called Nonstop. So, kind of fun. I don't know if I've heard anything. There's a kind of new version of Popcorn on it. Besides that, I'm not too familiar with most of the other tracks on there, but be fun to check out anyway. This is the one that was sort of a grail for me, in a sense that I really love this band. I have the original CD, and I really like this album a lot, but I've not really found it out anywhere. And you know, the heavy metal fans out there will maybe recognize it. It's Halloween, Walls of Jericho. For those that at least have a little bit of a familiarity with Halloween, you probably know them from the Keeper of the Seven Keys records. There were, I think, 2, maybe 3 editions of that. This came up before it, and this had who was actually the lead guitarist for a while, who left and has now come back, Kai Hansen on vocals instead of the main guy that took over for vocals on Keepers of the Seven Keys and beyond. So, and I actually kind of prefer this version of Halloween. It's a little more hard edge, a little grittier, you know, where the other version of Halloween is kind of more, you know, maybe this has a little more punk or hardcore element to it a little bit, or maybe even like Metallica, Megadeth-ish, where the Keepers of the Seven Keys and beyond are more Iron Maiden sounding. So anyway, I've got one that I got it because I got a decent deal on it, and I have not had it before. And it's Eric Clapton's Slow Hand, the Mo-Fi version. I've seen this around, you know, my local store had it, I think, for like $95, and I wasn't willing to pay that. This place had it for $76, I think. But because the jacket's a little beat up, I don't know if you could see that. Jacket's a little beat up. The record was, I mean, it was in decent shape, but it was not in an inner sleeve, and it, you know, visually didn't look perfect, but looked like it was good. I was able to get them down to $65 for it, and I figured, yeah, for that, I'll give it a try. So, I do like the album quite a bit. Definitely one of my favorite Eric Clapton albums. But that is everything I had for this week. There's not a whole lot. Haven't really been able to do much for any other topics this week, but I'd love to hear your comments on what I got. Love to hear your comments on what you'd like me maybe to cover for my next few episodes maybe, and see what you want me to talk about. And, you know, that is everything I have for today. I hope you liked what you saw here. If you did, hit that like button. If you want to see more of my videos, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to know when my new videos come out, hit that alert bell. Also, I'm on social media, my True Audiophiles page on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram and Twitter. Unfortunately, I've been a little bit light on posting on those the past few weeks, just because work has been hectic, and I'm guessing for the next couple of weeks it's going to be pretty hectic, because I'm traveling 2 times in the next 4 weeks, which is very unlike me. So anyway, that is everything I have. I hope you have a great week, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks a lot.